The Bozo list?
The certified Bozo list that you have to go murk.
Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got a Bozo list, but now I just happens to have the skills to kill the bills. Welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It is the Optimists video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
And my name is David.
You've come in with quite some sauce, David.
I have.
Yeah.
No.
You got a little wet and wild back there. The pre-show hangout. Getting a little wet and wild.
The pre-game hang with my family for my sister's 36th birthday was we get wild. We get wild at the Benavides household.
You know, you say that almost as if it's a joke, but that is kind of true. I've seen you guys throw back booze like it's nobody's business. It is kind of wild.
We like to party.
And not in, I will say, from the outside looking in, not in a sad way, not in a bummer of a way.
Thank you for stipulating that.
Because you might hear that and say like, "Oh," but it's not like that. It's not like that.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, they were just in there throwing back booze. It was like, oh, they were in there just throwing back booze. It was great.
Yeah, it's like a fun
context,
a fun drinking rather than like a we have to kind of drinking. You know, when you and I were growing up, I don't think either of your parents ever like spoke the word beer around me ever. So like, it's all good. CPS, don't come collect David.
They did not drink at all when I was growing up.
Yeah, I mean, probably like, listen, that's probably a good idea. You're so tired as a parent. Like, when do you have like a Heineken, you know?
Yeah, you don't have time to throw it back at the Hotel California often when you're a parent.
Absolutely not. So like, I'm not surprised that like, okay, both kids are 21. Like, let's rock and roll a little bit, you know? Let's cut loose every now and then.
They're doing it.
And as a result, now David's got an interesting Monday energy.
I'm here, baby. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm flying solo dolo this week, so it's different. It's a different feel in the house.
Interesting. Yes. Is that I have to imagine that is probably informing a lot of your energy as well, too.
That too. I mean, Mallory is, she's in Sacramento right now, so it's just me and it's a boys' week. It's me and Bruce. She took Pop-Tart with her.
Oh wow, so just you and the cat.
It's just me and the cat.
This is way more information than you drinking informed me of your state. Like, that is so much more impactful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's a Cat Monday, baby.
Cat Monday, Boys Monday. This week's for the boys.
I promise we're not that podcast all the time. I promise that's not the thing we do. Unfortunately, I have a very that kind of guy game to talk about today.
Manosphere guy game?
No, like a Mondays for the boys kind of game.
Gotcha. Okay, sure.
Which I will get to eventually.
A dude's game.
This is a dude's game. Not necessarily, but just like for a while that was the move.
Gotcha. I get it.
Speaking of which, hey, do you want to talk about video games?
I have been playing games, Chase. I have.
Tell me about
Guilty as charged. I got a new phone recently and I said, hey, you know what? Let's look on the shop, the old online shop, to see what kind of fun free games there are.
Your phone got games, bro?
My phone got games. Besides the New York Times connections and Wordle and whatever, the standard that everybody must have nowadays. Mm-hmm. I have Gwent. I downloaded Gwent.
Okay. I've never participated in Gwent outside of The Witcher 3.
You've never Gwented before?
Not outside of the game.
I've never played it in the game.
Okay. All right. It's pretty
So I'm curious
good
to see.
It's not bad.
Yeah. No, I'm curious now if I describe it, if it sounds like the same game that you were playing in The Witcher 3. I always skipped over it because I'm like, I'm not into this. It was, it's kind of like a Yakuza moment. I'm like, I'm going to ignore this fully fleshed out side game. Yeah. Because I just want to be Geralt of Rivia and just fuck people up. It's great. Mm-hmm. So I've been playing Gwent. It's fun. I really enjoy it. It's a very different type of card game because I feel like the standard in most card games is like at the end of the round, then like everybody hits each other, or it's like the Hearthstone type of deal, right?
Yeah.
Not so much in this one, like unless you have like a deploy move, which is like a battle cry, right?
Yeah.
Or an order move, then you can't really do any damage to the other side. You're just trying to amass more points than the other player and trying to strategically take out their cards or take out one of their lines, because there's a front row, like a ranged row and a melee row that you can put people in, and you can do like different things depending on what row they're in.
Yeah.
So there's different like area of effect spells that affect either one of those rows, which is fun too. But it's really interesting because there's 3 rounds. Is that the same way it is in the game in The Witcher
Lord
as well?
Help me, I do not remember.
You don't remember? It's fine. So there's 3 rounds.
I probably played it 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's best 2 of 3. And what's really important is card advantage, because if you have more cards, you're doing well, right? Than if you have more cards than the other player, I should say. So you can strategically like just give up on a round.
Yeah.
If you see that your opponent doesn't have as many cards in their hand and you have a bunch more and they're already ahead, so why waste potentially more of your cards on this round, and you can just kind of go into the next one, which is, I think, a very fun kind of risk-reward decision you have to make in this game, which is cool.
It's almost Marvel Snappy in the way that you have to like measure, like, should I keep playing this right now, or was it better to just like leave?
Exactly, but different than Marvel Snap in that there's 3 rounds you play. It's not just like the one, right? So you can kind of learn kind of what deck someone's going with or how they play. So there is a little bit of more of an ability than a Marvel Snap to plan ahead and try to decipher someone's play style. Whereas in Marvel Snap, it's just so quick. Yeah, I don't think you can really do that as well. At least I was never able to.
I mean, yeah, the decks in Snap are so small that like if you see one card that's like, oh, obviously they're playing this one, it's a little bit easier if you play a ton. But yeah, initially when you're at like kind of the starting level, it's hard to see like what is the thing they're doing, what archetype are they using.
Gotcha.
Are you playing other people in this game, or is it just single player?
You play other people.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's people out there in the world.
I always get very nervous playing a multiplayer game like that. Like I don't like somebody watching me from the other side, you know?
Don't you do that on Marvel Snap?
I do, but like I had to push through that phase.
Sure.
I just, for whatever reason, there's a weird amount of pressure, like when somebody else is fighting me, you know?
I get it. You're worried about someone else judging you.
Yeah.
What is that saying that in any interaction between 2 people, there's 6 people present? Actually,
oh my God.
Have you heard that before?
No. Is that like all the other people?
It's how you both view yourself. It's how you both view each other, and it's how both of you think the other person views the other.
That's good. I like this.
Right. So it's just like it's a really great way to put in perspective like how much like internal dialogue we have going on.
Yeah.
Even when it's just 2 people talking. It's just 2 people talking.
Jesus, dropping the gaming wisdom at minute 7 or whatever.
Here we are. But I totally get that. And it's funny because when I first started playing Hearthstone on my phone, I had no idea I was playing other human beings.
Oh, really?
I just downloaded the game because like everyone was playing it. I'm like, okay, I'll try this out. And I top in and I like going through. I'm like, wow, this computer character is really saying a lot, like through the emotes. Like, what is going on here?
Well met.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, I guess it's just how the game wants you to interact with it. So I get that. And then once I found out that it was actual human beings, I felt so like exposed.
Yeah.
Like almost taken advantage of, like, I didn't know it was people. No one told me.
A little Ender's Game of them.
Absolutely.
To be like, yeah, you're just playing AI, baby. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
A little less nefarious, but yes, it is Ender's Game-ish, that's for sure. But yeah, this game is fun. I love the game board is really cool and dynamic. There's little characters that kind of run around on it. The music, of course, is the Witcher music. It's great. It looks awesome. The cards have great art and the flavor little text on the bottom. I'm always a sucker for flavor text. It's good. It's good in this one. It's fun. It really goes a long way to make each deck feel different.
Yeah.
And there's 6 different factions you can play as in this. I don't know if they did that in the one in the game, but they all play so differently and have a very nice flavor in how they play differently than others. So like for example, I play as Skellige, like the Viking people.
Yeah.
And so they have a couple unique abilities. So there's like some of their cards have the veteran status on them. So the longer they stay in battle, the stronger they get. And then your deck ability is essentially you get to be able to, if there's people who are damaged on the other side, like if you have more enemies damaged, you'll trigger more powerful abilities of the people on your side. It's called Bloodthirst. So it's like, if there's 2 enemies damaged, then you do like 4 damage instead of 2 when you deploy, right? Which is a very fun mechanic. And then they all have their own little unique, like in Hearthstone, like how Jaina had the fireball I don't know. I don't even know what you would call that. Just like the class skill, essentially.
The class skill, I think, is it. Like just the thing that is specific to whatever class you're playing that you can kind of always do.
Yeah. So theirs is you give the enemy 3 sirens who are 1/1, but they've all been damaged by 1. And then you play like an 11-point beefy boy.
Yeah.
And it's just this great kind of risk reward, like, oh, but if they have someone who's really like has an ability to like kill an enemy that has a high point value, then you're kind of fucked with that one, right? But it can be a great way to just kind of end a round as well. And then Nilfgaard has all these abilities to like take different classes and use their cards because they're all like spies in the game, right? And that universe. So they have this amorphous nature to them where they kind of use your own skills against you, which I thought was great too. Just like they really build the flavor into how these different decks that are associated with these different factions and how they play. It's really well thought out, I think.
That's cool. It definitely sounds like it's taking a fair bit from Hearthstone, which is like not a bad thing necessarily. I have very fond memories of Hearthstone, and like I think I am playing Marvel Snap kind of as much as I was playing Hearthstone, but like not nearly as intense as Hearthstone was. Like I was really in that grind for a little bit.
Yeah.
And like so desperately wanted to make it to like legend or whatever that rank was in Hearthstone.
I remember you were obsessed.
Never did. Just truly never did. And I've hit Infinite in Marvel Snap a few times, which is like, I'm not sure if those are comparable at all, but like it's essentially the top rank or whatever. And I still, even having experienced that, like Hearthstone still feels like the white whale of kind of the one that got away in a sense.
Sure.
And I think part of that is just like that game just felt so good to play, even though it was very frustrating to play a lot of the time. Like I can, if you describe to me what, or like if you think about what it feels like to hit somebody's enemy hero with like a big beefy monster in Hearthstone, like the screen shaking and like the cracking of the other character's like portrait or whatever, like it is so clear to me in my mind. Like it just feels like they got the game feel so down in that one.
They truly did.
It was really fun. And like, you know, it sounds like Gwent is kind of picking up on that a little bit. And yeah, I long for more games that take the lessons from Hearthstone that were in there in the very beginning and maybe not necessarily as time went on. Just because like it felt like they were kind of shooting themselves in the foot with like the balancing stuff and like the standard mode and everything. Like it was very odd. Yeah. And felt almost like it was like a growing pain of like, we don't necessarily know how to do this long term.
Yeah.
And then like, not that there's like, you know, something super wrong with that. I just wish it had kind of turned out a little bit differently.
Yeah. Like I think we talked about this a little bit with Overwatch, but it just feels like there is an alternate reality where like Overwatch and Hearthstone are the two still biggest huge IPs still. And it's just, I don't know what it was. It seems like, but even though Blizzard is such a corporate company, you would think that they would see this and be able to figure out how to keep it going monetarily as well. And maybe they did figure that out, but it's just at the detriment of the actual player base and the game experience. So who knows how much money it's making? It probably is still making hand over fist. I don't know, but.
And I guess when we're talking about this, it is important to note that like, it is possible that a ton of people still play this, but I'm more talking about the like cultural cachet.
Yeah. It's not part of the zeitgeist anymore.
Not at all. Not at all. Like there are almost certainly players who still play these games, but like not in the same way that it was when it was super popular. And the same goes for Overwatch at this point.
Yeah. But I mean, we're both probably sound like a couple of old heads because that was like at the peak of its popularity probably 10 years ago. So it's been a bit.
It has. It even like it felt very fresh at the time, I will say. And like I know it's kind of odd because like card games are not necessarily something that is so new anymore. But it almost felt like, well, it's weird for Blizzard, a huge company, to be putting out a fucking card game. Like that's a weird move.
Yeah.
Because like MOBAs were still quite popular at the time, and like I feel like that was the thing that a lot of companies were, even fucking Blizzard, they put out Heroes of the Storm, like not around at the same time. And so like it was odd for them to be like, yeah, we're gonna like make one in a genre that like Magic is still quite popular, but like not digital Magic in the same way, you know. Again, I know there's people that play the fucking like Magic games or whatever, but it wasn't as big as Hearthstone ended up being.
No. And while Gwent is a very fun and interesting game, it offers a lot of different decisions to make than in Hearthstone, I think, especially with the card. Well, I guess card advantage is a part of Hearthstone, but like the 3 rounds, getting and being able to take cards from one round into another to build on your advantage to kind of like make sure you win the next round is very different and fun. But I will say that even though the game is very polished and looks great, there is something about the game feel itself that doesn't quite match up, I think, to me, to Hearthstone quite yet. They really had the secret sauce for that game when it came out. But we'll see. I'm going to keep playing this probably just off and on because I mean, I downloaded it because I'm still chasing the white whale of Hearthstone, right? Yeah. Chasing the dragon, I should say, trying to get back that high. But it's very fun. It's very well made. And if you like these type of games on mobile, then give it a shot, especially if you played The Witcher. It's got some great flair to it and flavor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I have also been playing 1000X Resist.
Yeah, let me know. Lay it on me, man.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about this game, and there's gonna be probably just like a couple light spoilers. I'm not gonna get into too much detail about some things, but the whole entire backstory with her parents was so heartbreaking.
It's a brutal play, that part of the game.
So heartbreaking. And the whole entire time you're there, you have BBF, who's just a fucking weirdo, being like, Rain, bro? What the fuck is this shit? But I was very impressed with the storytelling ability of the game devs with that backstory, because they were able to touch on so many different interesting themes and topics. Yeah. You know, the struggles of immigrant parents who have, you know, more of a naturalized child, the struggles of, you know, resistance and fighting it back against authoritarianism, mom stuff, parent stuff going on, and just kind of like how that trauma can be generational and how it really gets passed down from one generation to the next. Yeah. Just really, in like a tight 15 or 20 minutes, made that family feel so alive and real and fascinating in a way, right? Yeah. Really did an excellent job of also making you understand the All-Mother a little bit more and kind of being, you know, even more concerned about like what exactly she's up to. Because let me just say, justice for Bobo, okay? Justice for Bobo. Yeah. Like, nowadays with parents, that like puts your kid maybe on like that's a red flag for your child at that point for certain. So that was pretty brutal. But, you know, I think I talked about it last time, how it felt like more of a visual novel at first, but now it definitely does not feel that way, because they definitely use moving around and like how the character feels to move as a narrative device, especially in this scene where you all of a sudden, oh, the world is bigger. Oh, wait, no, I'm just smaller. I am Iris as a child now, wandering around and interacting with my little guinea pig hamster thing. Yeah. So yeah, that was very well done. Brutal, but very, very well done. That whole section is unbelievably good. Really stands out. Like I played it once, and I think I watched AJ stream it as well. And like, it's unforgettable. Truly, like every inch of it is just like burned into my cornea. Yeah, because it's like it's maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and essentially the like narrative framing is that you're doing one of these communions. Yeah, with Bang Bang Fire, one of the other sisters. Great name. Amazing name. And essentially like one of them has to be with you in these communions. And so like they are invisible to the actual events that are taking place, but you as watcher, the player, can see them. And so Bang Bang Fire is like hanging out in the background while you're jumping around in time, essentially taking the place of Iris, the All-Mother. And so like you're just experiencing what it was like for her to grow up when she was young. And again, like it's so cool to see like all this religious imagery wrapped around like a very kind of normal, quote unquote, like childhood experience, you know, like it's a lot of her like just being frustrated at her dad and like, you know, or like really enjoying something that they do, or like kind of the pains of trying to figure out how to be a Canadian, but also like, you know, this heritage to Hong Kong and stuff like that too. And like just how to fit in and be a teenager. Yeah.
Like all of that stuff is like so interesting, again, with the backdrop of like, this is their God, you know, this is the person that they worship. And she's like, you know, complaining about just very menial and normal stuff. It's so cool. And I also love Bang Bang Fire in this moment, because like she and all of the sisters in this like play in the orchard are like, they've never seen rain. So like, in these memories, they're like, what the fuck is that, dude? Like that is so weird.
I mean, it would trip you out if you'd never seen it before.
Yes. Yeah. And even the dialogue that secretary says right there, their little hovering essentially kid near you. He's like, oh, it's rain. And they're like, is it dangerous? And he's like, not usually, but if there's enough of it, yes. Just Just so
that is
cool.
called a flood.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Secretary as a character. I love the purity with which they are able to act as this child. There is something about like the breathiness of the delivery of the lines really makes it sound like, you're talking to a kid who maybe hasn't quite got all of the confidence in the world to really speak up and be heard when they speak. Also, why are they so mean? Why is Watcher so mean to Secretary? Really, puts it into its place quite often. It's like has real emotional reactions to when she is mean to it. Yeah. So I think that's it's interesting to see that, and I think it further extrapolates on the characterization of Iris and to an extent her clones to look down on others that they deem not being quite on the same level as her.
Yeah, and like you will see that kind of a connection in every inch of this game of like, ooh, that relationship is like this relationship over here. It's just filled with that kind of stuff all over the place. Because again, like you can compare that to Iris and Zhao, or Iris and her mom in a way, or any of these clones and shit like that. It's so bizarre how much meaning they're able to get into like such a small amount of space.
Absolutely.
You will get more Secretary, fear not.
I like Secretary. I'm rooting for Secretary. Whatever the fuck happens to this game, I'm rooting for Secretary.
Yeah.
To hopefully be a good guy.
Yeah, let's see.
A couple other things about this game I want to mention real fast. I love being able to explore the like underground layer or wherever these women live. That whole entire compound is incredible to just explore. Like there's just like, here's the horse lobby, and like there's just a statue of a horse in there. I'm like, I don't know what I expected. But that is absolutely the horse lobby, or the mirror, and like there's a mirror in a wall with like some rocks around. I'm like, once again, this is factual. I don't know what I expected here, but that's it. Being able to go and talk to all the shells and just how they are able to communicate, like, oh, these are kind of like the apprentice, the acolytes versions of them, and they're all waiting to kind of like move up and then get called by the All Mother to go down the train and do all this stuff. So that was all very fun to explore, especially like this separate areas that they all have, like Healer's area being just like stark white, sterile, Knower's area being like this very kind of futuristic, techie, black and purple library deal going on, and then Bang Bang Fire just living in some like weird like padded red cell of some sort.
It's a weird apartment that she lives in.
It's a weird apartment like, she's got.
It's kind of just her, and she's just in there. Like
exactly.
It's not nearly as useful of a space, I think, as the other ones are. But I mean, she's the weapons person, so like she needs to be out and about.
Yeah, I just love that they call her BBF.
Yes, it's so
which
good.
When I hadn't played this game for a while, and I forgot that her name was Bang Bang Fire, and I'm like, BBF, what could that be? Big bad friend. That's what I thought at first. I was like, she's my friend. She's a big bad lady, so she's big bad friend, and that's kind of how I think of her now. Which also I think is accurate.
Works, yeah, it still works.
Works for the character. And what other? Oh, and I really enjoyed the drawings. The childlike drawings of some event that happens in this game that is somewhat horrendous, that gets shown to you, visualized to all the people who are living in this compound, this murder, right? And it's drawn by like what seems like a 5-year-old, and they say it comes straight from the All Mother, which makes you think like, ooh, maybe like did the All Mother actually ever like evolve past a teenager? Is she still the same person she was? So once again, another thing that like lets you start to think like, well, maybe the All Mother isn't all that great. Which it's kind of seeming to go that way, but we'll see what happens. I really loved how, just going back to the flashback scene where you're in your parents' apartment growing up, when she leaves and the walls are like padded, like a padded cell. Oh man, dude, that was so good. I was like, did they just fucking do this? They did do that. That was a really nice touch. Didn't even have to say anything. Just like, okay, it's padded walls now. Like, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, again,
I see that.
really showing the like production design background that a lot of them had of like feels like a stage play in a way of like you have to communicate a lot through what you're choosing to depict as far as like the geometry and like what is here or not. And just like having to the like conclusion there of having to leave the apartment like 20 times.
Yeah,
like
where it's just like you go into the apartment again, you go into the apartment again, through one door, out through, seemingly out the apartment, but back into the apartment was really good. Yeah, that definitely feels like a stage play.
Like so much meaning conveyed there of like, you know, she probably didn't actually that physically did not happen, but like she might remember it that way, or like Iris plays this out in her memory a lot of like, that was the last time I was there, or like even just the experience of like having to leave a place like that. Like you don't just leave it physically, you have to like mentally do it too.
Exactly.
And that's a process that you repeat over and over and over again. So like
mentally leave it, emotionally leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just like, God damn, again, that hour of video game is just like, oof, fucking cinema, man. It's
very good. Very good. So yeah, that was really, really good gaming. And just real quick, one other thing I just want to applaud this game for. There is such an obsession in modern like AAA games to be all the bells and whistles just get thrown in the game. You have to be perfect. The graphics have to be great.
Yeah.
All the motion capture has to be spot on. But man, these people's mouths don't even move when they talk, and they convey so much emotion and story through what they have. And I think that speaks to two things. It speaks to the talent of this team that made this game. Hats off to you. And it also speaks to the fact that there is so much more that goes into making an experience than just like focusing on those fine details.
Yeah.
That really, with modern game design, just seem to add cost and time and strain to the team, right? So if you can make an affective and phenomenal experience without that, sure, it takes a lot, but there are now other ways to get to that point without needing all of that graphical detail, right?
I don't need to see Joel's whiskers for it to be a good scene, you know, like.
Exactly, right? I mean, I enjoy seeing the whiskers. They're very impressive, right? But does it add anything to the emotionality of the scene? Hard to say.
Yeah, I think 1,000 Times Resist is positing like you don't need it to have a good emotional scene.
Exactly. People will connect if it's good.
It's also like just a testament to how fucking good the voice acting is, which upon first blush, I was like, is this bad? Like, this feels bad. Everyone's speaking in like these kind of breathy tones and a little bit low and weird. And like, the more you get into it, it's consistent. Like the choices that they're making are consistent across the game. And whenever you go to one of these like voiceovers in the past, it's not exactly like that. Like Iris's dad doesn't talk like that. No. And so it's suddenly like, okay, I think this is just how they talk, because these are like ostensibly children, you know, like who are all talking to each other, and like they don't really know how to speak in a way like that. It just again, like it's remarkable that they were able to make that voice acting decision consistent throughout the whole experience.
Yeah, and let's be clear, they're not just children; they are children who have grown up in a religious cult.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Right? So everything you say is being judged and measured by what you should be saying or thinking, right? So it adds this like, you're kind of like on a razor's edge whenever you're saying it or doing anything in this space, right? So yeah, it's a great game. It's really good.
I feel like I'm watching my son learn to ride a bike for the first time. This is a phenomenally
This is a big moment for you.
Incredibly satisfying experience.
Do I have the training wheels on? Have I taken them off yet?
I think the moment you fire this game up, the training wheels are off. It's just like so much all at once.
All the flashbacks of all the times that I fell down and got myself back up are just flashing by on you right now.
Yeah, you're experiencing them simultaneously.
Well, I'm glad you were enjoying this vicariously through me.
It's great. It's such a good game, and I love both talking about it because there's like a million angles you can take on it. And also it's just fun to see somebody else experience it for the first time too. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And for a very different feel, last game I want to talk about, I have jumped back into Cyberpunk 2077.
Wake up, kid.
Wake up, kid.
It's time to think about your dad.
To think about your dad. It's time to go and blow up the noodle stand.
Sure.
So it's really interesting, this game, because how I'm playing this one is eerily similar to how I played The Witcher 3, which is over the course of like 1 or 2 years, I just kept on dipping my toes in just every once in a while just to see what's good. And now it seems to have really gotten me. I played this probably like 6 or 7 straight hours the other day.
Yeah. Dang.
Really got into it. I don't know what happened.
It's a boys weekend.
Boys weekend. Bruce demanded Cyberpunk. He's like, Johnny Silverhand is my guy. We had a conversation about that later. He's good now. He's on the up and up.
Gotta put it into perspective.
Exactly, perspective. And yeah, I don't know what I think it was. I was just riding a motorbike and I just looked up at the entirety of Night City. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. That, along with I think the new skill tree, really makes the combat a lot more engaging now.
Yeah.
I'm doing like a samurai build. So I have a katana, a throwing knife, and an SMG, and I'm just like air dashing around all over the place, deflecting bullets back at dudes. Like, I'm pretty much doing like Demon Slayer right now. I can jump in the air, charge an attack, and like thrust at them from far away, and like 3 of their limbs fly off. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's making it feel almost kind of like Skyrim in a way, which is weird because I'm doing like a very melee build, but the shooting still feels good after that. So it's a very different experience than 1000x resist. Is it 1000? It's 1000 times resist?
1000 times resist. Yeah.
1000 times resist. So yeah, it's much more like on the mechanical side that I'm enjoying this game, which also makes it kind of a good counterpoint to 1000x resist, because the mechanics are, there's different mechanics going on in that game compared to this one, right? And in this game, in Cyberpunk, you can do things like, meet up with a lady at the no-tell motel and have relations. And then the next day you wake up and the thing that you get as your reward for that mission is a iconic vibrator to use as a samurai sword that when you equip it, makes the controller vibrate.
Oh my God.
Just like a low-level vibration. I'm like, these 2 games I'm playing right now are both like peak video games for very different fucking reasons.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's just the subtlety and the beauty of 1000 times resist contrasted with just the depravity of Cyberpunk is something else to behold. I will tell you that. And that was when my controller was vibrating and I realized that it wasn't like my controller malfunctioning, but just a little gag the game was playing on me.
Yeah.
I had to turn it off. I'm just like, this is
too
ridiculous.
Much, yeah.
This is fucking funny. But like, I think now it's time to turn the game off and just go touch grass for a little bit, because man, that is a lot. But the game is really, really well made. I think it's just similar to The Witcher 3. It's just such a deep mechanical experience. There's so many different ways to play, and there's so many different things to do to make your character strong and feel good that it's just overwhelming at first. But now I got like my cyberware is feeling good, my loadout's feeling good, my perks and my skill tree are feeling good, and I'm 100% in now. It's fun.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cyberpunk.
Did you ever get that weapon, Chase?
No, I certainly did not. I for whatever reason I have a limit against having relations in video games now.
I understand, and I just wanted to see what the game was going to do.
Yeah,
because I'm like, this is a weird game. I want to see what their take on this sort of relation in a video game format is like. And it was over the top and goofy, and then got even more insane the next day when I woke up and got that weapon. So it's just it's funny. It's a silly game. It's a silly game.
Yeah. There's a couple times like in the story where it happens and I'm like, yeah, sure, this is fine. Like, it's part of the story, right? But just like for whatever reason, me seeking out like time to go hook up, kid, is just like a weird, it felt weird.
Yeah. Who was it? It was a woman who's like a corpo person in a side quest that you play. And I guess I rizzed her up, I guess. I didn't even remember. Sure. It was just like on my quest log and I'm like, okay, let's go see what's happening over here. And then all of a sudden we're having relations, and it was ridiculous.
Damn, it's now March and we can't say the phrase having sex anymore. We only can say having relations.
We're trying to free ourselves from the horny zone, but it's still just not quite happening. I will take full responsibility for this episode. This was my fault, but I had to share this happenings because it was insane.
I get it.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Don't congratulate me.
Congrats.
Don't congratulate me for this. I wasn't seeking this out. It just happened. I'm just so naturally charming to this lady, Meredith Stroud. I remember her name. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I remember her. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Power to you.
In the wiki for her family, it says partners V, lover and dependent.
Wow. She's taking care of him.
I'm doing the canonical thing. Anyways, that's all I've been playing this week. Jason, what have you been playing?
Yeah, cool. I got 2 games, David. Would you like Spooky or Shadows, David?
Spooky or Shadows?
Yeah. One of the two.
I feel like I know what Shadows is. Let's do Spooky.
Okay. Yeah, the first game I want to talk about is a game called R.E.P.O, David.
R.E.P.O, okay.
R.E.P.O. This is, I think I would describe it as a Lethal Company-like.
Oh, okay, sure.
Lethal Company was a game that came out, I think it was last year or something like that. Might have come out earlier than that, actually, but it may have just gotten popular last year. Essentially, the conceit behind that one, and very similar here, is that you would like go into certain areas and try to reclaim enough like valuable stuff and then get out of there before a monster got you. And R.E.P.O is very similar in that you will show up in this like truck with you and some other friends, and you have to just like collect enough valuable shit in these like areas like houses and castles and shit like that, and put them in this little like container that will eventually get extracted, and you know, keep some of the money if you go over a little bit.
So the king hasn't paid his debts and now you're coming to collect.
I mean, depending on the level, it's also like, you know, just like a haunted house or like just a regular house or shit like that.
Sure. Yeah.
You play as like these little like robot guys that can shrink down quite a bit, and they like their heads just kind of like flap on and off. Like it's just like a lever at the back of their neck. And so whenever you speak in the game, their heads pop up and then close back down when you're done speaking.
Kind of like the Canadians in South Park?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly how you can imagine it. And it's amazing. First off, I played this with AJ's partner, Tara, and Kim from .zip, and it is so good and fun. I think like it's just a pretty well-made game. Like the feel of it is good.
Yeah.
It's all kind of physics based loosely, because you like have to go over and like the way that you pick things up, these like valuables in the house, pick it up, and it's like almost like a slow moving gravity gun from Half-Life, where it's like pick it up and it's kind of like droopy a little bit, and you have to kind of like put it over into the container that you're wheeling around.
A droopy gravity gun.
A droopy gravity gun. And if you hit anything or like drop it, it will like lose value or break depending on like what you're doing with it. So you have to be a little bit careful. A lot of the times it's just like a dish or something, but oftentimes there are like much larger and valuable things that like are very hard to move. They're like unwieldy and shit. So like it just feels good on the basis or on the bottom level. And mechanically it's like between each level, if you're able to like get enough valuables out of there, then you can like go back and like go to the shop essentially. Like what that means is just like you can go like upgrade your stamina or get a health pack or something like that to heal yourself when you need to, or a little gun that will tell you like where the next extraction point is so you can like figure out where to go. And then, I mean, like the only other wrinkle is that every now and then in these places, there will just be a fucked up monster that will show up and try to just like kill you, you know?
Whoa.
The first one we ran into was this like tiny little duck who it doesn't look that menacing. Like when you're coming up on
Classic.
And if you touch it or if you hit it with one of the valuables, it freaks out and like turns into some horrifying monster and kills you.
Gotcha. So it's like the cuckoos on steroids?
The
cuckoos? From Zelda.
The chickens?
Yeah. Aren't they called something other than chickens?
Yeah, the cuckoos or whatever, yeah. Other than the fact that like those just remain deadly chickens, whereas this thing like unhinges its jaw and turns into something horrifying.
Cool.
But I didn't know that the first time, so I of course grabbed it and tried to, you know, throw it away, and it got mad at me and killed me. And so like shit like that happens all the time. So you'll just run into something horrifying and be like, oh my God, what is it going to do? And like you can go like run and hide under shit, and usually that will get it to like go away. And all of that just sets up the environment for comedy. This is like a comedy video game.
Sure.
They have done some kind of alchemy here where it looks incredibly convincing when you're talking, that they have mapped the mouth to move like really accurately. Of course, it's just going up and down, but like when you're looking at people and they say like, hey, it looks like you just said, hey, to me, you know, like it's very bizarre how accurately they're able to map like the voice that's coming out of a microphone to the game.
Sure.
Of course, like they encourage you to play with like Discord muted or whatever if you're like hanging out with people. So there are like in-games things that will happen. Like if you go around a corner into another room, like you'll hear the conversation that's going out there, but it's like muted, you know?
Sure.
It sounds like people are having a conversation in another room. Also, they have managed to like do eye contact in a weird way. Like if you're looking around, I think it's oftentimes just like if somebody comes into your vision, that character will like look at you with their eyes. And again, it makes it look so convincing because again, if you walk into a room and you see somebody and they say, hey, chances are their eyes are looking at you. And it's just like so bizarre and funny every time it happens. It is first person. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So all of that is true, but it's just like, again, the hilarity that ensues when chaos just breaks out and like everybody's running. Maybe you get away and you hear somebody like screaming in the other room or something.
Oh, no.
Or like somebody's voice goes out and you're like, did they just get too far away or did they die? All that kind of shit is so funny. Or like, you know, you'll be hiding and see somebody like running by and like the Doppler effect happens where like,
sure.
Like that kind of thing is so funny. Like to the point where it feels like it's just like weaponized in the way that like Trombone Champ weaponizes comedy in that game.
Sure. Yeah.
Where it's like intentionally trying to make it sound bad. Like they really are setting up like just chaos in this game. And like that is the point, or at least it feels that way to me. And I think Lethal Company was funny as well. Like it was a funny game, but I think they've taken it to just such another level with R.E.P.O. And like, yeah, it just feels a little bit less scary, I will say, because it's all like a little cartoony and like the monsters are like frightening, but I don't like, just at no point was I like shaking in my boots, you know?
Sure.
It gets much more frightening when it's like just you. Because of course, like if you die, you can't like speak to your teammates still.
Yeah.
But if say 3 people are dead, then they can all talk to each other, but the one person who is alive can't. Like they can't hear you. And so it's so funny to be able to like listen in to the one person talking or trying to play the game still while you're all kind of like talking shit behind them. It's so much fun. And I mean, like it's a game that is incredibly clippable. Like you can get so many just like incredible moments from this game. I think one of the more like clippable items that you run into is there is an hourglass that you can run into. And if you pick it up, it pitches down your voice and slows it down a little bit. And so like you will just start talking and then it gets lower and lower. And it is hilarious whenever that happens.
Yeah.
It just seems like they've taken so much inspiration from Lethal Company, but also just like funny things that could happen, you know, like I have to imagine there's just a lot of like comedy going on when they're developing this game that like really translates into the experience itself. It's definitely the flavor of the month, it feels like right now.
Sure.
But I'm having a great time with it. I like the moment we finished like one single run, I was like, damn, that was really good. Like I had a really good time playing that game.
What's it called again?
R.E.P.O. R.E.P.O.
Is it like Scooby-Doo levels of scary? Is that kind of how it feels? Or is it trying to be scarier than that?
I think it's like slightly scarier than that, but not by much. You know,
like trying to be like Five Nights at Freddy's type of scary.
I would say even less than that. Like, I'd say Five Nights is still kind of relying on jump scares. And like, again, it's just like, it's tense when you're running away from something, but like, it's just always, for me at least, so rooted in this ridiculous experience that like, it's hard to be that scared for that long. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think just people are really figuring out how to do like the proximity chat in a way that really makes the game.
Sounds like that's kind of the selling point for the game.
I think so. Like the like extraction stuff is fun and like interesting, but like that alone, I think wouldn't make this game. That like it is all this extra finishing touch stuff that like truly takes it to another level that I was like really impressed by.
Awesome.
It's really good. R.E.P.O. is the game. I assume that this would probably be a lot less fun playing solo though. Like,
yes,
I think the fun of it is the comedy, and the comedy comes from you interacting with your friends and you know, seeing them freak out and run away or, you know, anything like that. It's all really good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Anyway, as suggested before, the other game that I am playing, David, is Assassin's Creed Shadows.
That's what I thought. Cool.
Yeah, I will say. Okay, so a lot of things. I need a lot of
ready.
preamble. One, like, this is not this show, I promise. Like, I'm usually not bringing this big name of a title. Not that I'm opposed to it, but like, it's usually just not the thing that I'm bringing, you know?
Sure.
But I liked the first, I think, like 3 Assassin's Creed games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like easy to forget that they did feel quite groundbreaking at the time. Like
1 and 2 in particular.
The traversal stuff was just like, it felt really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that was still very novel at the time. And I think like Ezio as a main character is also just like so good. I like really liked spending time with him.
He was a good character.
Yeah, he was really fun. So like I grew up liking these games. I kind of weirdly fell off at Black Flag. I know that was a lot of people's like favorite game, but just something about it didn't click with me. And then I saw the reviews that like 3 got, and that wasn't very good. And then there was that whole line between like the one in France or whatever, like Unity, I think is what that was called.
Yeah.
And it was like technically a really big problem. Like I remember them being a lot of bugs at the time. And I was just like, you know what? It's okay. Like it kind of felt like it was old news by that point of like, this is a series that like isn't really evolving enough for me to be that interested.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just stayed out of it until Odyssey, which was the one that was set in like ancient Greece. And I think a lot of things worked for that game, for me at least. Like I the setting I think was so good. Another game that like oftentimes communicated how fucking hot it must have been at that very moment. The boat stuff was really good in that one. I really actually liked the boat stuff.
Raise your hand if you like boat stuff.
It's me. I love boat stuff. And
it's me too.
It's me. And I also really like Cassandra, like the main character. You can choose whether to like which one to play. And I think Cassandra was like just very fun. I really liked her as a main character. And I will say that Odyssey is like the second game in a like kind of post reinvention era. What was it? Mirage? Was the
Origins.
first one? Was it Assassin's Creed Origins?
Origins. That was the one in Egypt, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Origins was the one where they were like, okay, let's like maybe try something a little bit different. And I think what they meant by that was that the combat was a little bit different. It felt a little more like it had played Dark Souls a little bit.
Yeah. Like they put more Dark Souls and The Witcher into it.
Yes, yeah. Like there was a fair bit more like gear and like progression. It's like they integrated quite a bit of RPG stuff. And I will address the RPG of it all because I know that that's like kind of a divisive choice that they've made since then. But Odyssey was the second one in that one. And then Valhalla was the third in that line.
Yeah.
Which was a PlayStation 5 like launch title. And I liked it, but it felt like bloated to me in a way that for whatever reason Odyssey did not, despite the fact that like I understood that they're both gigantic games, you know, like both of them have so much shit in them. And it was just kind of like hard for me to get through Valhalla. I felt like I had to like work at it to do that. And I think this is all with the backdrop that like Origins came out in 2017, but so did Breath of the Wild. And like open world games were in a bit of like a transition moment where you know, Ubisoft was still running with this model, and a lot of games were and did after the fact still. Like it's not like this kind of game has gone away.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I think Tsushima is kind of the big counterpoint to all this, is that like that game still was doing that, and I think did it pretty well. Like it was one of the kind of examples of like, this is how to do it. This is how to make it feel good. But I realized that in a way, a lot of the games in the Assassin's Creed franchise, like past Origins, are kind of working with an outdated tool set in a way. Like it's hard to keep making these games, or at least keep playing them, while trying to ignore the Breath of the Wild in the room. You know, like I just think that is a much more, I think, satisfying way to do an open world. I remember a lot of the places in Breath of the Wild. I had really unique experiences. It was really emergent in the way that I played it. Whereas I think Assassin's Creed is much more authored and much more bloated, I think is like the right word for that. All that said, I like the bloat in a way.
Sure.
If it's working, if a lot of things are working right for me, I like that. And I think part of it is that it is just a brain off game for me. I don't have to work very hard at it, you know? And like, there are some times where I do want to do that in a game, and I will fire up Dragon's Dogma 2 and like be like, okay, what do I really got to think about before I go out into the wild here? Cause like there will be an ogre that will kick my ass if I don't think about it. Whereas in most of the Assassin's Creed games, there is a map marker on the map that tells me which dude's ass to go kick to progress the story. And usually when I get there, I just have to counter correctly, and that's good enough, you know?
Yep.
And so like a lot of it relies on the world design and sort of the satisfaction of the characters and the mission design being fun enough. And I found that in Odyssey, and I didn't really find that in Valhalla. So cut to them putting out Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is something that they like. I feel like the moment that people got their hands on Assassin's Creed 1, they were like, they got to do it in Japan. You know, like
this is true. Yeah.
It's such a natural extension of like, well, like assassins were a thing in Japan, at least like culturally, you know, like the idea of a ninja is a thing that has existed.
Is this like 20 years in the making? When did the original Assassin's Creed come out? Like 2006?
I feel like that was like 2005 or 6, I feel like was when the first one happened.
2007.
Yeah. So 18 years ago.
18 years in the making.
Yeah.
My bones, dude.
And so like in a way, I felt like there was a lot of pressure on this one to be like, you really got to nail it, you know? Cause in a way, this is them cashing in a bit on the like cultural demand for an Assassin's Creed set in Japan. It's very much like the conversation when Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming out, and they're like, or like people were like, this has to be the best video game ever. You know, like you couldn't possibly try to start a remake and be like, I don't know, we got kind of half an idea and it's going to be maybe kind of shitty. It'll be all right. Like, no, we need you to nail it.
Yeah.
You know? And I felt like that was kind of a similar pressure on Shadows. And there's a lot in there, but I think like the top thing that I'm feeling is that this is still very much in the lineage of Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla. Like there's a ton of items. There is a gigantic map with so many level requirements and stuff like that, and so many map markers, and there's so many skill trees, and you have 2 characters now to worry about.
Man.
And I enjoy a lot of that. Again, like I think just something in my 2007 fucking broken brain is able to be like, there's a bunch of bad guys over there in a fortress. I want to kick their ass, you know, like, yeah. And like that works for me.
You gotta capture the outpost.
Yes, that exact feeling. And so like before I, criticize or heap any praise onto it, like I think it goes like I have to acknowledge the fact, like if you are looking for a satisfying, novel and innovative experience in a video game, I promise you this is not it. It is not this game. Because like if you have played any of the other ones or truly just any open world game before, like you played this one, it's very similar. There are I think things that it does well, but like you've definitely played it. And so like I can't in good conscience say like, yeah, it's, the best one of these. It's definitely not. And like there's also an argument to be made that like Ghost of Tsushima did this kind of thing better, like just at the top line, I think Ghost of Tsushima is a more artistic visually game.
Sure.
I think it tells a more concise story, at least so far. I beat Tsushima. I haven't beat this. And just like, some parts of it were a little thin, but like there was a through line throughout Tsushima. Like the whole thing from start to the end, like they were saying something. And, I'm not feeling that so far in this one. All that said, I'm playing a lot of it. I'm playing a lot of this video game. Essentially, the setup is that you get to briefly play as a character named Yosuke, who was like a real dude in history.
Yeah.
He was like essentially like a Portuguese slave, I think, that got brought over to Japan. And Oda Nobunaga himself was like, hey, you should hang with me. And he was like, all right.
Is this the character that the gamers had a gamer moment about?
It sure is, baby.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I suspect if you're listening to this podcast, you're not among this crowd, but like predictably, gamers saw a black man in Japan and they're like, this is DEI. And
we can only hope that Donald Trump's going to cancel this video game.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't need to explain to you how asinine that is, listener, but like it is. And I don't like, there's just no more oxygen that I need to lend to it because it's an unserious argument from unserious people, like that's just it. So, he is here and he gets drafted by Oda Nobunaga, and
First overall?
He got drafted, yeah. First round draft pick, and
Let's see it.
put on the Japan jersey, and is now like in his like militia, who is slowly I guess, militia's maybe underselling it. He's taking over Japan, Oda Nobunaga. And then shortly after playing as him for a little while, you cut to another character named Naoe, who she is in one of the villages that is currently being invaded by Oda Nobunaga and Yosuke. And you get to play as her for a little while. And she immediately plays very, very differently than he does. If you're playing as him, like, he feels like a big, beefy guy. Like, you're cutting people down in like 2 to 3 hits. Whereas like she is very meager and small and takes a lot to take somebody down.
Sure.
She's a lot faster, but like it takes a lot of hits to bring someone down with her.
Sure.
And yeah, so you kind of play out this whole story of what happens in her village initially. And you go on to play as her for quite a while, I will say, in the first little bit of this game. And essentially the way that this like game works is that eventually you can switch back and forth between these two characters. But Naoe, she is, I would say, the quote unquote more traditional Assassin's Creed like gameplay experience. She is the one that is doing a lot of these assassinations and, is running on walls and going up very high and uses a grappling hook, has a lot of tools. And Yosuke is a big boy who hits real hard with his sword.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun that they're offering you 2 avenues to play this game. One, the more, I would say, traditional experience of being a sneaky assassin, the other one being the big tough guy. And I appreciate that because they don't like force you to choose one. It's like you can have either, and you can usually like approach situations with either approach. And I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that they do a good job of making both of them feel very different.
Sounds like it.
Like you're not taking down hordes of dudes really easily with Naoe, right? Like you have to do that with Yosuke, or you have to assassinate people very quietly. And so like I appreciate that they went to the effort to make them feel distinct, which they really do.
Do you find yourself gravitating more towards one than the other?
I think Naoe for sure. I find her a more interesting character. Like her arc is interesting to me. And that may be because of the pacing of it, which I find a little bad, to be honest. Like they give you Yosuke for about an hour. And then like I played as Naoe for probably another 8 hours before I got back to Yosuke. Like
that's a strange choice.
It's a really long time. Like you're playing a lot of the single player game as her prior to being able to meet back up with him. And so like, I don't know. I just feel like they maybe could have balanced that a little bit better to be kind of like bopping back and forth between them for a little while. But I will say that like once I built momentum playing as Naoe, like I was like, okay, I'm like very in on a lot of this.
Sure.
It definitely has the gear stuff. So like if you're against the gear thing, you're not going to love this because like you'll beat somebody up and get a new sword and have to be like, is this one better than my last one? And it's like marginally better than your last one. And again, something about it, I'm okay with that. Like I think it's just
more damage now. This is great.
It's for whatever reason, it's not even that like I'm doing more damage. I just like to see the number go up, frankly. Like,
sure.
Oh, I killed them and now I'm doing a little bit more damage. It's like not even really that effective of a change. It's just like, I'm like, okay, I got a cooler sword now. Most of the time I like it because genuinely the sword just looks a little better. I'm like, that's cool now. So like that's in there. They, again, just to kind of hammer on the bloat point here, there are so many mechanics. Like you will go on one part of the map to another and it's like, all right, you got to like go over here and meditate and remember something that happened to Naoe in her past. And then you have a whole side mission where she like thinks about her past and remembers how like she learned sword fighting for the first time or whatever. Or another thing where, you go to some castle and it's like, you got to beat all 3 daimyo in here to get the unlockable chest or whatever. Like, okay, I guess I'll do that now.
Sure.
Or they also added like a home base area where you can like build up a custom area and like have different buildings that you have to go collect resources for to build and shit. Like,
so kind of like, what is that? Assassin's Creed 2 point something? One of those ones that had like a city builder almost in it.
Brotherhood or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit like, I think it is a little bit more customizable in that because you literally get like a grid that you look at and you can move shit around and like change your layout and stuff, which I find fun. Like it is simple enough that you don't have to engage with it that much. to really get the benefit of it. But if you want to like customize your paths and stuff like that, you can also do that. But I'm mostly just like, if I unlock a new building, I see if I can build it, and then, do something else. So like there's a lot of shit in there, but I think my philosophy when I'm playing these games is if something doesn't interest me, I will not do it. Like, there's just so much shit in here that I'm like, if it's not
impossible to do it all.
Yeah, like if I'm not enjoying it, I'm just simply going to ignore it until I have to do it, if that even exists. It does the thing that like they had in Odyssey that I actually really, really like, which is there's like a group of people who has wronged you. It's like, I think 12 or 13 people that's like shows up on your objective map, and it's like, all right, here's the 13 shitheads that you got to fight.
The Bozo list?
The certified Bozo list that you have to go murk.
Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got a Bozo list, but now I just happens to have the skills to kill the bills.
Ooh, yeah, damn, that's nice. Good.
And like the process of that is not just that they're like wandering around, but you have to do a bunch of other like small missions to like figure out who they are, because most of them were masked. And so it's like, all right, I know that there's like this one thing about them that I can exploit. And so like, let me go do that. The one I just did is like, I had to like, there essentially there was some clue that this one of the assassins was like involved in this like tea ceremony. And I found that like there was this guy who was holding a tea ceremony, but that to do that, I had to like go sneak and like steal a like trade ledger to prove that like I'm a trader. Like I can talk the talk. And then somebody's like, okay, well, you don't know how to like do a tea ceremony, so you need to go like figure that out too. So you do one of those side missions and shit. And like, I think to somebody that might sound horrible and boring, but to me, I was like, it's goofy and kind of like ridiculous, and I'm having a good time with a lot of it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not really complaining about all of that, just because like it is so clear for me to see I'm doing this all in service of beating a Bozo, and that goal for whatever reason just really works for me, I'm
here to beat bozos, and I see you right in front of me, so it's happening whether you like it or not.
So yeah, like that works very well. And I also appreciate that like the objectives page is not a list. It's like a map kind of. And so it just shows you like, here's what Naoe's personal goals are right now. Or like, here's the list of bozos, or here's Yosuke's mission that he's on, or the like all the other stuff. It for whatever reason, just it visualizes my objectives a little bit easier for me.
Yeah.
So I think something else to add is that there's a lot of different ways to experience this game, and there's a couple of options that they offer you up front. One of them is canon mode, and another one is immersive mode. And canon mode is essentially like they have determined what are the canon decisions for you to make in the game. And so rather than offer you dialogue options, they don't. They just choose those for you.
Oh, give me that.
And like, that's what I said. I was like, that's an immediate choice for me.
The less I have to think about this game, great.
Yeah, and like I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before with like Mass Effect and stuff like that, where I actually do think that there's some power in choosing a dialogue option as a way to reflect who Shepard is to you, rather than like I need this to come back around and reflect my decisions from Miranda or something. Like, yeah, I really it's just an opportunity for me to decide who Shepard is more than anything else. Whereas like if the options that you're providing me aren't all that deep, I don't really need them. And I would actually prefer it if you just offered me what you think like an interesting story might be. You know, like I'm way more interested in the idea that like you have an idea of who Naoe is canonically, and I would like to see that, like mistakes and all, like if it's like maybe something that I wouldn't choose normally, it's like that's actually fun for me because like it provides to me like the kind of the authorial intent in a way. Yeah. And so for lack of meaningful decisions, like I'm totally cool with canon mode. So that has worked really well. Immersive mode is essentially it's like a language option. So you can just choose like English as your main language. But if you're doing immersive mode, a lot of the Portuguese traders and Christians will speak Portuguese, and the Japanese people will speak Japanese. Well, which is cool. Like that's a fun touch. And I will say I've tried both. I've tried like the Japanese cast and the Portuguese cast and the English cast, and like no shade, but it's something ain't feeling right with the English cast. Like,
oh really?
I don't know if it's the timing or just like the way that things are said, or if they're trying to write it in a more like quote unquote traditional or quote unquote respectful way. But something about the English doesn't feel right to me. So like switched over to Japanese, immediately better, immediately so much nicer to just like kind of experience that language coming to me as it was intended in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very much on the immersive mode side here.
So was the English voice acting, did it sound like stereotyping, or did it sound just stilted? Was it just weird?
I mean partially stereotyping, but like they do this in every game where like in Odyssey they chose a bunch of voice actors and actresses who had like a Greek affectation, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's happening here too. And so it's like, I don't know if they hired Japanese voice actors and actresses to play both parts, or ones who are like, I know Japanese and English and I'm going to perform this as an English voice actor. But like, it sounded a little weird to me. I was just like,
Gotcha.
I don't know about this. Like I'd prefer to just read Japanese or read English with Japanese voiceover.
Gotcha.
So I'm doing that. It's much better. And just like it may totally be because like I don't know what a convincing Japanese performance sounds like, you know, like I can't hear the difference in how they're performing the words in the way that I can in English, but the emotion that they're conveying does come through, and I get that. And like it's oftentimes working for me in a cool way. So like I'm cool with a lot of that. And just like it feels appropriate, you know, like you're in Japan, it feels like you should be hearing people speak Japanese. And I will say, on the topic of Japan itself, the world is so good. They have made this world feel so amazing and beautiful and pretty. Like that, like there was part of me that when I was playing Valhalla, I was like, medieval England, like stinky swampland. Like, what is this? This is a horrible place to be showing up. Like
The Witcher 3.
Yeah, it's just like it's swamp. It's just a nasty bog swamp. Whereas like
Nasty Bog Swamp is a good character name.
Sorry, England. You're a very beautiful country, but like at the time it was just like Vikings running through mud, and I'm like, I don't know.
This is how Chase feels about England and about English people. He's told me in private. It's just his real feelings coming through.
No, I like England. It was cool. It's a cool place. I've been to London. I like the Tube. The Tube.
Get some chewing on your spud.
Man, yeah, holy moly. That whole endeavor. I forgot about that. But I think that they have just captured like the beauty of this place in a real way that I'm really enjoying, in the way that I enjoyed Odyssey, where it was like there is an amazing quality to this place that like I appreciate. And it's totally possible that like that may come down to taste, like whether or not you want to explore Greece or Egypt or Japan. Yeah. It's so far it's largely the area around Osaka and Kyoto. I don't know if it's going to expand out at any point, but that seems kind of the general area where it's taking place.
Sure.
So like I really appreciate it, especially any of the moments where you go climb up a big thing and you have to like synchronize. It just like kind of pans around the area. It looks amazing.
Still good.
It's really, really good.
Still good.
Yeah. Weirdly, this game feels like Picross to me. Like, whoa. It's all just a bit of a puzzle that I have to solve. And like, it's not a very heady puzzle. It's more of a mechanical thing where I'm just like, I'm looking at the data on the page of like, all right, Picross, I see what I need to do. I see the known numbers and the unknown numbers, and I have to make them known. You know, it's just like a puzzle. And that's what this feels like too, where I kind of know what I need to do most of the time. It's just a process of doing it. And so like I was saying, it is a brain off game for me where I don't have to like participate in it super hard to get what it's doing. You know, like the like 10 to 15 hours that 1,000 Times Resist was like felt eons longer than the 10 hours I've already put in on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, yeah, it's just a different kind of game. And so like, if you like that kind of stuff, then like you might like this for sure. And like I said, the full disclosure of like, you might like Ghost of Tsushima might be a better like ninja game set in Japan. Like, I think there's a lot more artistic stuff going on in there, but like, you know, pick your poison, I guess.
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima probably had the best art direction of any game I've played.
Yeah.
So that's I see what you're saying there, but like that's a hard bar to jump over. Yeah.
It for sure is. It feels like weirdly like there's a name for it, but essentially when two movies come out around each other that are like, did y'all come from the same script?
Oh, like Deep Impact and Armageddon, or
The Prestige
and what was the other one? The
There's
Illusionist.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why did two of these movies come out so in such similar times? And of course, like Tsushima was a little while ago, but like it feels like a similar thing of like assassin games set in Japan at this time period. And like I will say, mercifully Naue like doesn't seem to struggle as much with like, should I be an assassin or not? She's kind of just like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. And there's other things that are developing for her, but it's just a very different story that they're telling.
Sure.
Anyway, there's a lot here. And I think that I could go on. Like, I didn't even bring up the Kurosawa of it all and like the influence there. But like, you know, I am enjoying it for what it is, with the caveat that like, this is appealing to the same like section of my brain that's like, I like Satisfactory because I like to build something. I was about to say,
is this a factory pervert game?
Kind of. It's definitely not a factory game, but like the same part of my brain.
So it's just a pervert game.
It's just for perverts. It's just like the part of my brain that like just wants its treats. It's that kind of game, you know?
Just want some treats.
I want some treats. Like I want a chocolate chip cookie, and that's what this feels like. Mm-hmm. Am I going to feel even close to as good as I did when I finished 1,000 Times Resist? Absolutely not. Like definitely not.
Sure.
But will I have fun doing it? Yes, that is true.
So you're saying this game is kind of like junk food?
It definitely is. Like it's not.
Respectfully, it's like junk food.
Yes, yeah, junk food. Positive in parentheses.
Yeah, like tasty treats that you know that aren't good for you, but taste good.
Yes,
don't fill you up at all. You probably could eat 500 of them.
Like you know, probably not going to make Goaty, but I'm gonna play it, and I'm having a good time with it. So yeah, that's Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Love it.
Which will all bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Which is?
Voice chat in video games.
Voice chat, yeah.
It has gotten a lot better over the years. And I appreciate that like it is being made a pretty significant part of games like R.E.P.O, where it's like that is a critical cornerstone of that video game. The same thing with Lethal Company. It's just I think there's a lot of inventive ways that this is being implemented in games right now. And so it's just really fun to be there. And also like just simply how different it was when it was like a horrible 360 mic that you could hear like just the worst dregs of humanity screaming at you in Halo 2 compared to, you know, I presume still the dregs of humanity screaming in, I don't know, Valorant or something. But in R.E.P.O, it's fun. It's good in there, which I really like.
Yeah.
You have something feeling your sense of optimism, David?
I do. It's this new game that has been announced called FBC Firebreak.
FBC Firebreak.
It's in the Control universe.
Yeah, this is the Control game.
This is the Control game. This is the Control first-person shooter, like team-based first-person shooter of some sort. Like you have to like go and take down different crazy supernatural spooky things that are going on in the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control. I'm excited for this game because the devs have come out and said that they are making this game for people with jobs and kids, and I feel fucking seen. I'm just like, yes, I love that because I'm always interested and excited when one of these new type like online shooters that are really trying to do something different with team mechanics and whatnot come out, but then they just move so fast. By the time I dip my toes in, like people have already gotten so good at the game, they're just destroying me. And by the time that I go in a second time, the game is like completely changed. The guns have been buffed or nerfed, different modes are out, and it's too much to keep up with, honestly. Yeah. So I'm excited to see if they can really put their money where their mouth is by saying something like that, and I'm curious to see what that means to them and how they're going to implement that. Because that sounds like it would be right up my alley.
Yeah, it's sort of related to R.E.P.O in a weird way of like, I appreciate that there has been kind of a renaissance in the last, like I'd probably say 5 to 10 years of multiplayer games that are not strictly marketed towards the top 2% of the player base.
I don't need to flick my wrist to do hit scan and get headshots, right?
Yeah, like I think a lot of that was just like baked in when like Unreal Tournament was like the biggest multiplayer game of all time early on in games, and then they're like, well, it's got to be like that, like it's an easy knee-jerk reaction, but like I really appreciate it, especially like if we were talking about it earlier, but even Overwatch 1 being like, yeah, you don't have to be like super good at shooting to play this game and enjoy it, and then with the advent of stuff like Lethal Company or R.E.P.O, where it's like it's truly not even about being good at shooting, it's kind of a different thing altogether, and like your ability to have fun with the game is not based on you being like a super skillful player. It's like, do you just kind of want to hang out and have fun? Like that's this option too. Or that's what's in this game too. So yeah, I don't know. I agree. I really like the ethos that they're bringing to this one.
Yeah. And I love Control. So I'm really curious to see how that translates, that sort of that story. I know that's not, I think they already came out and said that's not really going to be a story, but how that world translates to a first person experience. Yeah. Team-based experience.
Reminds me a little in more than one ways, like the Deep Rock Galactic of it all, because that is also kind of a co-op game.
Sure.
But then also the Deep Rock Galactic roguelike that I talked about earlier in the year.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like sort of just an experiment that they're like, is this fun? Let's put out this other game, see if it's any good. And yeah, I love when they're able to like experiment, especially with like assets that they've used before. We've talked about this of like, yeah, man, fuck it. Like you already got the spaces, like see if you can make another game in there. That's cool.
Fuck yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Reuse that stuff.
Hey, do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Welcome to Good Games, this segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them.
Wow.
You didn't even have the headphones on yet.
I didn't. I was just checking the box score for the Kings losing by 20 points, and I was deep in my feelings.
Yeah, you were experiencing some emotions over there.
I was experiencing what you would call the true Kings fan experience.
Yeah, the that's the canonical mode with the Kings, is to look their score up and see that they lost by at least double digits.
Some random bench player just put up like 20 points on us. That's Kings basketball, baby.
And we got suggested to play a game called Kingsway.
Yes.
By listener Jackie. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
On the topic of this game, Jackie had to say, an RPG with multiple endings plus desktop window management wasn't a combination I knew I needed in my life, but it's so much fun. Which I agree with. Had you heard of this before?
I had never heard of this game.
Me neither.
If you had put me in a room and asked me to think up of 100 unique video games, I wouldn't have come up with this game either.
Yeah, I feel like the Besties podcast had come up with some name for these kind of games, like UI Core or something like that.
Sure.
The computer is the thing that you're interacting through a little bit. Like Home Safety Hotline is one of these.
Yes.
It's like you're interacting with a little bit of an older operating system. And I'm shocked that it worked as well as it did, I will say, just at the top.
Same. Yeah.
But before we get too far, I can hit you with some hot stats, David.
Please.
Great.
Hot stats.
So Kingsway came out July of 2017. A fair bit older than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This was made by a single dev.
I mean, I am a singular Dave in my house right now. I am all alone, so that's
you are
that's,
but
that's
one
correct.
Dave.
You looked right at me when you said that too. I thought you were doing a joke, but you really just messed up Dev, huh?
This is the prestige. You made this game, Dave.
Oh my God, it was me the whole time.
A single Dave named Andrew Morrish is who made this, and Andrew just appears to be the solo dev who made this and Super Puzzle Platformer and Unidentified Falling Objects and Tough Love Machine. Very good name, Unidentified Falling Objects. That's a great name for a video game.
That's a good one.
I do have a review from Rock, Paper, Shotgun. In fact, there were two reviews on Moby Games, and this was one of them.
Wow.
I took their review, I ran it through Google Translate, through a number of different languages, one into another, to get a fucked up artist interpretation of what they had to say, which I'll read for you now, David.
Let's hear it.
So when I review one of these games, some people can't help but get angry. Because even if they get their hands on a factory kitchen robot while playing, they have a star that they can easily buy and own. Beautiful and fun. Well done. You are so special and unique. Fair. If only we could be like you, and I would have spent hours doing it. I didn't get into this game because I spent too much time thinking about what I did wrong. To me, that's the basic mindset. I hope you are too. And that one was unscored. It was just a written review.
I didn't get into this because I was thinking about what I did wrong.
Yes.
That's my mindset.
Sorry. I didn't get into this game because I spent too much time thinking about what I did wrong. Like just agonizing over this author's past mistakes rather than playing Kingsway.
This is my mindset, and I hope you are too. Also, did they say factory kitchen robot?
They sure did, even if they get their hands on a factory kitchen robot while playing.
I mean, I wouldn't mind one of those. That sounds nice.
That sounds cool. Yeah, get
Robo Chef?
Get him to make my pizza instead of me having to do it.
Get him to make my pizza.
One single Dave. What is this game?
Oh, great question. So you had talked about it before. So the game is essentially you are playing a old school RPG on like Windows 95 operating system on an old laptop. That's how the screen looks. So there's like a little taskbar on the bottom. There's little icons on the side. There's messages that pop up to you to say like, oh, you have points to allocate to your character and whatnot. But everything happens in separate windows. So the game is in a little window. You can like bring up your character sheet in a separate window. You can bring up your inventory in a separate window, like your character and what they have equipped in a separate window. And then all the enemies attack you and you have to go to that window to then fight them. And then they will also sometimes send things at you that's another window. Like, oh, you have to like click this button on this window that's moving up and down the screen. Yeah. Otherwise you get hit by like a poison bomb or something.
Yeah.
Or most of the enemies will also, their window will move around the screen slowly and you have to press a button to do your different skills or attack or defend or anything like that. So there's a lot of like dynamic kind of tracking going on, not just with things that are moving, but also with the layers of the windows, because sometimes things get lost and you don't know where the fuck you are. Yes. If there's like multiple enemies coming at you, they each have their own window, and it gets pretty frantic in a way that I was not expecting it to get when I first started just like attacking the training dummy in the beginning of the game. But frenetic and fun in a good way, right? So there's that aspect to the game, but every time you start a round, you create a character, you can choose different classes, you can do a different silly portrait, you can give them a name, right? And then if you had played a previous round, this is kind of like the roguelike element of it all. If you had gone and buried your character who had died from a previous round, you can then choose one item that they had and like take it from them and then potentially bring it into your new playthrough as well. So you didn't know that?
How the fuck do you bury a previous character?
Well, when you start it back up, it says like, oh, my first guy's name was Gus House. I just did a random name.
Sure.
It said Gus House is dead, and I clicked on him and like, you can't play him anymore. He's dead, but you can bury him. And I said, okay. And they said, okay, do you want to like carry over any of these items into the next round? You can only choose one. Yeah. So I chose one. And then in that beginning screen where it says like choose your starting like perk, where it's like a potion, money, or extra health, extra mana, or money, it also has that item in there now. So you can choose that item to carry over.
Man, David, this sucks. I should have done that. I had some badass items in a couple of those rounds.
You didn't bury any of your boys?
No, none of them. They remained unburied.
The homies were just rotting on the surface. Damn.
Yeah, shit. Dang it.
Well, you gotta continue with your burial ceremonies, Chase. This is just a basic human concept of right for our dead.
Yeah, I should have been more respectful. I don't know what I was thinking.
You messed up.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of the game. You're like traversing through this map in one of the windows, and so you have to like choose which little nodes you want to go to.
Exactly.
And I think the overall goal of the game is that you're supposed to light these like 3 beacons, which will open up this like one castle to you that like the king has sent you a letter, like come through and
come through,
bring the pizza, BYOB.
Yeah, he did a little sideways peace sign through the summons.
And you're supposed to go there and do something is the idea. I did do that one of the runs, which I was pretty satisfied with.
Oh, you got all the way.
I conceptually beat the game. I think there is a alternate way to do it that I think is more canonical, but I like got to the final boss and beat that one.
Dang.
But then I died. I really would have liked to carry over some of those items because there was some dope shit in there.
Too bad you didn't bury your guy.
I think I just got lucky too, because that was the first run I went on, but every subsequent run I got clapped.
I was about to say, I got clapped pretty regularly.
Yes, yeah. I don't know what happened. I think I got kind of lucky with like the gears or the gear and the drops that I was getting. But yeah, I mean, like it's bizarre because it plays so much like a very classic RPG, you know, like the UI is all very old school. You have to go to these like towns and rest and like manage your items and shit like that.
Pick up.
Yes, yeah. But there's a lot of affordances in there that make it feel very modern. Like I didn't feel like, oh my God, this is such a slog to play through or anything like that. Like I do find that experience in a lot of like super old RPGs that like there is usually something to enjoy there, but like it is buried behind like inscrutable controls and shit like that, you know?
Yeah. And like because the game is so much just UI, they knew where to speed up the UI when it mattered, right? Because I feel like also something with those old school games that this game is trying to emulate. The problem is that loading screens take so long. Like just opening up and getting into the inn or getting into the potion shop or anything like that just takes forever. And like then you get there and the screens make no sense, right? You're just like looking at something like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know why it's so expensive or why I would want it. But this game's like very clear and concise and like, okay, this is why you want the potion. This is why you would want this sword. It's better than yours. So if you have enough money, buy it, right? Like it's very grokkable.
Yeah, that's a word. It makes a lot of sense. Like just if you've played an RPG before, you will understand how to play this game pretty intuitively.
Yes.
I played so much of this game, David. I played so much of this game.
It sounds like I felt like I played a lot of this game, but it sounds like you really played a lot of this game.
I think it's just like I have time where I'm like I have like 5 to 10 minutes or something where I like need to blow 10 minutes between a meeting or something. And it's like, well, I can't really like start in fully on something. Like let me just do something with my hands. And so Kingsway was one of it. I played 5 hours of the game, which is I would say more than we usually play for good games. You know, like I feel like usually we can get a feel for something and then it's like, all right, I think I got it. I have my opinion about it and we can bring it to the table. But I was at a certain point, I was just like, I just want to play more fucking Kingsway. This shit's good.
This game was good. I really enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah, it got. I understand why Jackie had suggested it because it got reviewed in like kind of the high 7s, like in 8s is sort of the consensus I saw. Yeah, and I think I understand where those numbers are kind of coming from because like it's not the deepest RPG I've ever played, but like I think what it's doing well, and it is pretty novel in most of the approaches that it's bringing as far as the UI being kind of the thing you're wrestling with.
Absolutely, and I think like going back to what we were talking about a little bit with 1,000 Times Resist. Yeah. You don't have to come with like the most amazing graphics or the most amazing, voice acting even with this game to make a fun and engaging experience. Like just the whole entire conceit of it being on this like Windows 95 desktop really puts you in a time and a place. And it's almost trying to tap into, at least for me, that kind of nostalgia of playing a game like this. Yeah, for sure. But making just like a better version of that type of game, which is very satisfying. And then just the added small little element of having those different windows that you have to manage, and some of them move around and you have to track them down. And sometimes it gets frenetic and crazy on the screen. It's just very engaging and fun. It's just one small, very good idea implemented very well that really changes this game and makes it into something special.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely doing the nostalgia thing because like you'll pull up one part of the game and it makes like the sound that a hard drive would make when it's being read. Yeah, the sort of like that goes on whenever that happens in the background. Like you didn't need to put that in there, but it's very satisfying that they did. And just like all the sound effects are so supremely old school Windows kind of thing, like very simple shit going on in the background. Was there music even? I don't think there was.
There was music, but you had to open the specific music tab.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you're right.
And the music kind of ripped. The music was actually pretty good. It was just very good old school fantasy chiptune music.
Yeah, it's like straight up swords and sorcery kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I also love that like they like kind of blend both of these worlds because in your like inbox on the desktop is where you're getting the like letters from your guild.
Yeah.
or like any quest markers or something, like, hey, I need help with this dragon, it like shows up as if it's an email to you.
Yeah.
Which I just find like such a funny framing device for how to like navigate this game. As if the hero themselves is like trapped in this computer, and the way that they interact with the world is through like apps and shit like that.
That would be an interesting setting for a fantasy, like with phones and computers and shit.
Yeah, baby.
It'd be weird.
What if an RPG but phones and computers?
Oh, you mean like Persona?
I mean, like, sort of, yeah. What was that? What was Scarlet Nexus? Was that the game that came out a couple of years ago that was like phones and computers but an RPG?
I think so. Or like, well, what's the big one? Sword Art Online?
Yeah, for sure.
It's been done. It's been done.
Yeah, I think so. Plus, like, Dungeon Meshi's almost a video game. It's like truly not as part of the world, but like it takes so much from these kind of RPGs that like it's right there, the influence.
It's true. Very true.
Good manga, the Dungeon Meshi.
Do I need to check it out?
Have you not read Delicious in Dungeon?
No.
Yeah, you should get on that. It's a good one.
Is that the next one?
I think so. It's good. It's done, I will say too, which is always just like,
that's great.
So compelling to be like, there is an end to this. It's not just going to go on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it pretty good actually. It feels very straightforward for, I would say, the first like 4 volumes or so. Right after they fight a dragon is when it kicks up to like, oh, something else is happening in this manga here. But up until that point, it's just kind of a nice, like, almost slice of life adventure that's going on that like I think is really good. I don't know why I thought you had already read this. Yeah, you should definitely read this.
All right, it should be the next one. Got it.
Yeah, do that.
It's done.
Hey, speaking of just like a little bit of a manga minute.
Oh.
Still reading One Punch. Man, we really are fighting the fucking Monster Association. Like, it is taking forever.
It goes on for a while.
Arc.
Yeah.
Man, that first arc that they went through it, which is like essentially the first season of the anime, like they are done and through with it so quickly. Pretty and then quick. They're like, it's Monster Association time. And like, truly, I think it's like 100 chapters that I've been reading through. Listener, we just talked about One Punch for probably 10 minutes. I'm probably keeping none of that in because it's all spoilers.
10-minute man.
Yeah, 10-minute man.
It's a very good manga.
It is. I'm having a very good time with it. Anyway, Kingsway is a very good game that I played a lot and I enjoyed a lot. I think it's like weirdly could be a strange introduction to this era of like RPGs, you know,
sure.
Like it's possible that you play this and you're like, what if I played Dragon Quest 2? You know, like that's an option available to you after
Absolutely.
this point, which like a lot of those games are still very good. So it's not a bad idea to check out, like, would this be a gateway into older RPGs? But obviously it is doing a lot of like very novel stuff here as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jackie, thank you for suggesting Kingsway. It's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie.
Hey gamers, it's me Chase, and I'm here to guide you through the outro quickly because it's bedtime. Thank you for listening to this show. If you want to interact with anything about Podtimism, you can go to podtimism.com. You can check out games that we've played, or you can suggest a game or any of that jazz. There's a link there to the Discord if you want to come hang out and talk, which I highly recommend. You're a part of the Worst Garbage Podcast Network, and everybody has a show. No, everybody has a thread in there among the people who have a show. It does feel like everybody has a show. There's a lot of good ones. Things like Can't Let It Go, which just came back as of time of recording. So they got a new episode, which I'm very excited to listen to. We got Dot Zip. We have Frog of the Week, Girl Mode, Into the Aether, just recently Next Portable Console and PC, Paws and Claws, and us as well. So come check it out. It's a fun place to be and hang with your friends. I'm just going to skip all the preamble, just go straight to thank you for listening. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, Dave, you got any gaming wisdom for me?
Oh, ooh. Ooh.
Those two brown buttered cocktails really put you away from the gaming wisdom. You started with something that was quite good.
I did give you in any conversation between two people, there's six personalities. Or
I'm going to be thinking on that one. That's a noodler for sure.
It is something, and it just goes to show how complex even just a very simple interaction between two people is.
That's true.
But if I had to do a video game wisdom for this week, I would probably say, you don't need all the bells and whistles, baby. You don't need a fully loaded video game to have a good time with the video game. For it to be a good video game made with intent and care and purpose and love, right? There's many different ways to make a good video game. And what matters is that, hey, you have a good time with it. However you get there, baby, that's up to you.
That's true. You could have the most refined, amazing potato, or you could just have a regular old baked potato with a little bit of cheese on it and a little bit of sour cream.
A little bit of tuna.
What is the name of the series that you watched, David?
Spud Bros? Spud Bros.
Spud Bros. David, when he came up here, showed me a lot of reels or YouTube shorts, I should say.
YouTube shorts. That's
Truly,
my...
Truly the Skype of the short form vertical video entertainment platforms.
That I have YouTube on my phone. YouTube is staying on there because I like to watch videos, and that's how I get my short form content. But anyways, they came to me in my fevered state when I was when all I could do to entertain myself in the sickness was watch YouTube shorts. That was it.
Yeah.
Spud Bros got me through.
They did, but they essentially, it's people making baked potatoes in a food truck.
Jacket potatoes, that's what they call them in England.
They offer tuna as one of the options for what to put on there. And man, I can't walk down this road with you, Mr. Frodo. I just can't do it.
It is, they'll have garlic butter, salt and pepper, cheese, baked beans, and then tuna on top of this, like tuna salad.
It's an exceptionally English thing. Like that whole thing just screams Brit, especially beans. Get beans off my potatoes, you guys.
I get it. I could kind of see it. I could kind of see it.
I can't see it. These Brits just keep putting beans where they don't belong, man. On the breakfast table, namely. But
they love their beans.
I like beans too, but like in the morning, it's either chilaquiles or nothing as far as beans go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have chilaquiles in Seattle?
Not good ones, but like they do make them up here.
Oh man, I had some chilaquiles in Sayulita. Oh, changed my life.
Lord,
my goodness.
Mercy.
But the tuna on a spud seems weird at first, but then you think about it. What is a tuna melt except a like carb, cheese, and tuna? Right? If you did potato, cheese, and tuna, would that be as egregious? With
I
a little
think
bit
part
of
the fact is just that like tuna and I are not friends.
Sure.
Tuna and I are not friends,
Like,
and we've
at all,
never been
ever,
friends.
never. What about
it's-
ahi tuna, not just canned?
That's fine. I have much less beef with that kind of tuna. But like canned, mashed up, nasty cat food tuna, not for me.
Yeah, it's just a very funny sentence to say. I have beef with that kind of tuna.
I ain't got beef.
I ain't got beef with that kind of tuna.
I think that's as good as it's gonna get this week.
Probably.
All right, we'll see you next week, gamers.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.